So we've got a Bant Ephemerate list here. Thought it was kind of interesting. It's just a list that I found on MTG Top 8. It's just one of the Modern League 5.0s, so I thought this list seemed interesting enough. Just copied it straight up, no changes. I think I'm just going to run it through a league, see how it does. That's the individual's username in case you are curious, so credit to them for this list. Yep, we'll play first. And yeah, I'll keep this. It's got some interaction. It's got good turn 2 and turn 3. Okay. Swift Spear is pretty good here, obviously. I think I'm just going to let this hit me, though, and I'll just get a tap land. I don't really want to give them an extra mana source yet, if I can avoid it. So we'll get blue-white, I think. And then here I'll get a forest. Or I could just draw a forest. Let's just play it like that. Yeah, and we'll go ahead and grab the Batter Skull. And basically force them to kill the Stoneforge Mystic. Otherwise we get to put a Batter Skull in play. Morphos. Thoughtseize. Probably going to take either my Uro or my Batter Skull. If they have a removal spell, they'll probably take my Uro and then bolt the Stoneforge Mystic. And then I'm in a little bit of an awkward spot. I think I can still play a turn 4 Uro if they take this, kill this. Oh, take my path. Yeah, okay, so they still have an answer to this, but they don't care about the Uro, I guess. Take 4. Their companion is Luris. That's what I figured. But currently, they do not have any white mana to be able to cast it. Actually, I forgot it's white and black, so they do have the black mana. Interesting that they're choosing to play black here. Yeah, so we'll just use blue to Delta to go grab an island. And we'll play our Uro. Abbott. Maybe searching for a land. Finds a vault. They have the land. Probably going to bolt me. Yep, this is all fine. And then here we'll grab a Temple Garden. And go ahead and put the Uro into play. Uro. Uro. I thought it was a little interesting that the deck was playing Ether Vial, but it does make a lot of sense to just be playing Ether Vial in a deck that has a ridiculous amount of creatures. I believe there's 26 creatures in this deck, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 26. It'll push my Uro, which is a little bit sad, but it's not the end of the world. Bolt me, puts me to 10, and I'm taking 10. That is the end of the world, actually. Actually, that was the end of the world. Dang. We had a lot there, and we still managed to lose that game. That's not what I wanted. What does this card do? Okay, so cards that I don't think we really need are like Remand or kind of whatever. The Aether Gusts are just straight up upgrades to those. Aside from that, Path is fine. Sword of Feast and Famine is whatever. But we'll keep it in. Just as another tutor target with Stoneforge. It's not bad. Like if we spend all of our mana, put a sword into play, and then attack them, and then get to untap all of our lands, it's not bad. It also just eats a card out of their hand, so. Knight of Autumn's great. Soul Herder is a little bit awkward because if it doesn't get to flicker anything, it's just like a do nothing. It's like spend 3 mana, my opponent has to discard a lightning bolt, which is probably fine. So let's trim an Eternal Witness, a Thassa, and then we'll trim the Venser. I'm not convinced that's like 100% correct, but I feel like these are better cards. I'll be honest, this hand's a little bit awkward, but it's not bad. It has 2 1-drops and an Uro and an Aether Gust, so we have lots of interaction. We just have to hit our land drops. So we'll go get a Temple Garden, and I'll play a turn 1 Noble Hierarch. And if they bolt this, then it's not the end of the world for me, but it's bad. It's definitely bad. Maybe I should stop saying the end of the world, because last game I said it's not the end of the world, and then it was the end of the world. It in fact was the end of the game. It was worst case scenario. No blocks. Nice. Well, I think because we drew that, I'm just gonna go ahead and get. No, I'm just gonna play the Forge Tender. Yeah, I just get to like block this infinitely if we get Forge Tender here. And then we're holding up Aether Gust or Icefang Quaddle. Manamorphose is fine. Soul Scar Mage is also fine. Inquisition me. I think I'm like pretty okay with them just like taking whatever they want to. So I'm just gonna get a snow-covered forest here. And flash out this Quaddle. Yeah. There is a line where I Aether Gust the Soul Scar Mage to the top of their deck and then just block the Swift Spear, but I don't really think it matters too much, honestly. Yeah, I kind of just want to put this extra card in play. No attack makes a lot of sense. And then we'll just go ahead and play in a row. Gain some life. And then hold up the Burrington Forge Tender. Tad bit awkward that we have not found any other blue mana. Yeah, I think I'm okay with this. Yep. Quaddle is dead. We're just gonna block for free. And then here, I think I'm actually just going to pass. With the just holding up what I have. And then we'll probably block and Path to Exile one of their creatures. The following turn, we can cast Night of Autumn, and if we find a land, we can also ephemerate it. Cling to Dust. Yeah, that's fine. Interesting that they're targeting the Sword of Fire and Ice instead of the Uro. I guess they want to draw a card, right? Yeah, otherwise you draw a card. Yep. We'll just path this thing. Block here. And then Eladamri's Call. Eladamri's Call. And I think I'll stick to the plan of just grabbing Night of Autumn. That card is extremely awkward here. Oh, you know what I should have gotten? I definitely should have gotten a Eternal Witness instead of this Night of Autumn. But we will stick to the plan. Just try and use the Night of Autumn. I mean, like, the Burrington Forge Tender, as long as it's just in play, I think they're going to have a hard time actually killing us. but it's definitely still possible. Thought seizing me. Probably just going to take the Ephemerate. But I definitely should have gotten Eternal Witness last turn. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that they would be Lava Darting this turn because they actually get more damage next turn by Lava Darting. And like if I just want to chump block, that's probably fine with them. Or it should be fine with them at least. Well, this has not panned out well. I think I've played this poorly. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, the Thoughtseize is likely just going to kill me anyways here. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They can put me to 4 here with the Lava Dart. Mystic Sanctuary. Well, that card's not going to do much here. I basically like have to rip Basic Island next turn to even have a chance, and they have to draw nothing in 2 draw steps, basically. They have to draw nothing in 2 draw steps and realize that they should not, or they should, yeah, also not a land so that they can escape the Cling to Dust. Yeah, that's going to be lethal. Yeah, I definitely can't walk away from that one and without thinking that I have misplayed extensively, honestly. I didn't fetch up blue mana, and I mean, don't get me wrong, the Burrington Forge Tender was good there, but it really just like didn't do much. And I also didn't fetch an Eternal Witness to help develop my blue mana later in the game. I just grabbed a Knight of Autumn. This is not traditionally my style of deck. I usually lean more into interactive style decks. Discard spells. Even a little bit of counter magic to some degree. I don't really like counter magic too much, but I do play blue a lot. But creature-based decks are not typically what I lean into. Mm. It is a little bit weird to me how green heavy this deck is. And it's also wanting to play cards like Cryptic Command and Uro and the Mystic Sanctuaries. You just constantly have to be fetching up islands. It's not ideal, but I think I'm just gonna pick up Yorion this turn. And then the following turn we can play Thassa. I don't want to just play Soul Herder into a potential removal spell that my opponent has when it's not going to get any value. Opponent flips a Thoughtseize, of course. So we're going to lose our Yorion or our Thassa. Opponent takes Thassa, which is a reasonable play. And I think we're just going to, with that draw, play Eternal Witness, pick up Path, and then Path the Dark Confidant. Yes. This one. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. Fatal push. We've been pushed. Yeah, for sure just going like Stoneforge, Soul Herder. Grab Batterskull, Soul Herder. And then they may have a removal spell for this. I think that's fine. We still get to do some Batterskull things next turn. We get to cast the Batterskull. Or Yorion for that matter. I don't think we're going to be casting Yorion because the Soul Herder is not the best thing to flicker, really. Oh, I'm just going to Ewit back Ewit. Back for one. Flicker the thing. Pick up Thassa. Yeah. My opponent has seen enough. No moss, please. They play green things. They might be playing some big things, but most of their deck is 1, 2s, and 3s. They might be playing like Tasigur or you know, like Kalidas, or even some Planeswalker that I'm not thinking of. But generally their deck is pretty cheap, so we're gonna bank on not using that. Deck's not red, it looks like. It looks like they're playing just straight green-black. Deputies, kind of whatever. Ashiok's also kind of whatever. And then like Gaddock Teague is also whatever if we're assuming that they're not playing very many 4-drops. Our deck's probably just like built to beat this deck. Like this is what we're just trying to leverage here. That being said, Aether Gust is only good against their green cards, so it only is going to tag things like Tireless Tracker, Tarmogoyf, you know, things like that. So the question becomes, do we turn some of our other cards into Aether Gusts, or are our other cards just better? And I think the answer is, for the most part, I think our other cards are just better. Like, if anything, I want to bring in like maybe 1 or 2 of these, but definitely not all 4. They're just not playing. Generally, their deck is like primarily black, right? It's, you know, discard spells and Dark Confidant and Lilianas and things like that. But then like their green threats are, you know, Tarmogoyf, Tireless Tracker. I guess Abrupt Decay counts, you know, as like a green card that they play. But I'm not like super scared of that one. Like if they're just removing my stuff. So I think I'm just going to run it back. I don't think I care about what you got going on, opponent. Show them my Pokemon. No. A little too awkward. Little too awkward. Mulligan. Again, not the best hand, but we do have a turn 2 remand. But they're likely just going to discard that from our hand. I'm going to keep this and bottom the Batter's Call. I don't want to just keep mulliganing into Oblivion against a deck that's got discard spells. So I'm going to keep the first playable hand that I see. Hey, I did not see the follow a few minutes ago. The Duckus. I appreciate the follow, man. Opponent leads on Verdant Catacombs. Yeah, Aether Vial is like a pretty good draw, so we'll go ahead and play that. It feels like Aether Vial is mostly in this deck just to sort of gain you a little bit of, like, you get to a point in the game where like you're just really drawing so many cards that you might as well just gain a mana advantage out of having the Aether Vial. But it also, you know, progresses you through the early turns pretty well, and it gives you a little bit of a mana advantage there. Yeah, we'll play the Polluted Delta out. I'm going to try and grab a Breeding Pool with this one, and Eladamri's Call at the end of turn if my opponent does not do anything. This is a neat combo with Eladamri's Call and Ether Vial. You can sort of just tutor up any 1-drop in my deck right now and then just immediately put it into play. All at instant speed. No, thank you. I would like to put that one back into your hand. Also super neat, if we draw a Noble Hierarch. We did draw a 1-drop, but if we drew a Noble Hierarch, we could put it into play. Or like any other 1-mana creature. I don't know if we play any other ones other than Noble Hierarch. Yeah, just gonna play an Uro here. And then put the Stoneforge into play with Ether Vial. Nope. Choke is gross. But it's actually not the worst because we still get to put our Stoneforge Mystic into play here. And we even get to activate his ability. Yes. This one. Batter Skull. Dead. Yes. It is obviously quite a bit awkward. Yeah. I don't think I have a second breeding pool. But I am going to try and lock them out of Liliana here. Blue, white, yeah. Choke is obviously quite good against our deck. Tireless Tracker is also quite good. I'm gonna go ahead and say no this time. And I just want to path this now. I know obviously we could Eladamri's Call for a 3-drop and then put the 3-drop into play this turn, but I think I want to, as long as this choke is in play, I just want to pressure my opponent while I can. So, okay, yeah, Inquisition's a little bit unfortunate for me because it's going to take the Eladamri's Call. There was an argument for playing the Eladamri's Call last turn, going to get, it's probably the name's Human, yeah. Which is a little unfortunate, but it doesn't kill the Meddling Mage, so they still are stranded with a Liliana in hand. Gonna grab a Temple Garden. No. Ice Fang Quaddle is uncastable. We do have to draw out of this, unfortunately. But last turn, what we could have done instead of pathing the Tireless Tracker, I think it's hard to say. I don't know if it was more correct to path the Tireless Tracker or to Eladomri's Call. Yeah, I mean, I'll photo green here. I think I just want to put the Ice Fang Quaddle here in play. Like, I know it's a little awkward because we're grabbing another island, but I just want to play this blue card while they give me the opportunity to do so. Awkward. Also awkward. But they can no longer attack because this just has Death Touch. It's a good draw. We could have, okay, so to finish my sentence about the Eladomri's Call. So on that turn where we path the Tireless Tracker, we could have instead used the 2 mana that we had to Eladomri's Call for Knight of Autumn, Violed it in, and then blown up the choke. So it's possible we could have been in a better spot because of that, but it's hard to say. Yep. Mm-hmm. No, I should just auto yield to that. Obviously, we should have fetched in response to the Ashiok, but I was not paying attention. I was talking about my Eladomri's Call misplay and made another misplay. Nope. Misty Rainforest. It is a tad bit interesting that the opponent's not choosing to draw with Castle Lockthorn. I understand that they're taking a lot of damage if they choose to do that, but it's a free card. It's free. Abrupt Decay, my Meddling Mage. Well, that's just rude, opponent. I mean, I'm definitely casting the Stoneforge here. There's no reason not to do that. And if we manage to get a land drop, I guess I'm just discarding the Cryptic Command. It's doing like actually nothing, right? But as soon as we draw, yeah, as soon as we draw another Eladomri's Call, We need Eladamri's Call and a green source. Probably just going to Edict me, yeah. And a third Liliana. Okay, so the Meddling Mage was doing wonders there. Yeah, we'll discard the Batter Skull, I think. May have to just concede this one, honestly. Fortunately. Feels like I could have won this one as well. I'm just going to discard the Cryptic Command at this point. I'm not going to concede, just simply because there is still a chance that we come out of this game, although it may be unlikely. Our opponent is not putting much pressure on us, so we do have 6 more turns effectively, 5 more turns now. And if we ever draw a relevant 3-drop, this Aether Vial just immediately puts in its value. Braska? That one's probably gonna do it for me. I think they're gonna kill the Vial. Yeah. And that'll cause a concession from me. And they're drawing the Knight of Autumn in 2 turns. Man, that is super unfortunate. I think we'll just run it back and hope that doesn't happen again. I mean, ideally, it shouldn't. Our deck is far more value-oriented than theirs is, and as long as we just don't get choked out of the game, we should be fine. Absolutely going to keep this one. Play this Aether Vial. Bob. I mean, I'm letting this resolve. Question is, what do we tutor up here now? Grab a hallowed fountain and cast the Elliot Omni's Crawl. And I'm gonna go ahead and go get a Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah, for sure. Elliot Omri's Call is pretty insane in this format, I think. And it's pretty unique what people have been doing with it for the different creature decks and that sort of thing. Ephemerate's absurd. Um, the amount of value that you can generate off of this card is pretty ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and just equip. Cancel. Wait a second. Yeah, I want to leave up green-white. Yeah, I kind of assumed that they were going to do that. And I think that's fine. I don't really want to ephemerate that, honestly. I'm just gonna jam a Sword of Fire and Ice. Why Snowlands? Oh, we're playing Icefang Quaddle, so that's the synergy with that. You want to have snow permanent so that your Quaddles have Death Touch. Draw a card. Plague Engineer. Naming Snake. They are afraid of the Icefang Quaddle. I am going to choose to go ahead and put a counter on this. I'm just going to cast Batter Skull this turn. Which I know is a little bit of a weird play, but Thought sees me. This is the most me deck I've ever seen. It's pretty, it seems like a lot of fun. I saw it just like in one of the MTG top 8, like somebody had 5-0'd with it. So I was like, yeah, well, I'll give this a shot. Why not, right? But we are getting pretty sufficiently shut down by what my opponent is doing on the other side. They've turned off all of my Elodomri's calls with this Ashiok. If we get to actually equip the Sword of Feast and Famine onto the Germ, then we're going to be in great shape. But whether or not that actually happens is very in the air. Named Human. They likely have a Fatal Push here. I mean, there's basically no reason for me to not go for it. We did it. Now I'm just going to hit them. They can't block. This thing has protection from blue, black, red, and green. So unless they have a white removal spell and a white land, they cannot target this. I'm going to use the sword to just take the Dark Confidant on the table. I think that's the most annoying thing. And they have to discard a card. We get to untap all our lands. And we get to draw a card. The last thing, actually, I had considered maybe using the picking up the Yorion here, but if they find a discard spell, they get to take it out of my hand. So I'm going to leave the Yorion in the companion zone. Next turn, I can activate Yorion and then Violet into play. And then, because we don't have any other 5-drops in our deck, we can actually use the Yorion to flicker the Vial and start ticking back up to 3 and 4 and whatnot. But unless my opponent basically finds a Liliana of the Veil like right here, I do not think that they can beat this. Liliana of the Veil is basically the only out that they have, and they're just dead to the Germ next turn. Because it smack and Sword also smack. Vial seems bad in this deck. Yeah, I would agree with you to some extent. Like, this deck seems like it doesn't really want Vial. The thing about Vial is that it really lets you push a mana advantage, and this deck doesn't really have issues with card advantage. I understand that, like, you know, Vial is generally used in like more aggressive style decks, you know, humans and other things like that. But like, I'll use like Legacy Goblins, for example. Legacy Goblins is probably the one deck that plays Aether Vial the best, and it's because of the amount of mana advantage that it continues to gain over the course of several turns from Aether Vial being in play. So it seems a little weird, but I actually think it's correct to play, especially in an 80 card deck. Like you're already heavy on slots. So we're gonna pick up Yorion, and I'm just gonna go for the attack. Like they're probably just hoping that I don't attack them. Maybe they have an Abrupt Decay for one of my equipments. Who knows? But if they have an Abrupt Decay, they should have Abrupt Decayed previously, because now we get to flash in Yorion and save the equipment that they target. This one, and like realistically, I should probably just go ahead and flicker the germ too, because it's, I mean, I guess it trades, and then I get to pick it back up. So this is fine. Let's say done. I think it is going to put you all in on the one threat you draw more often. All in on the one threat you draw more often. I mean, I can see what you're saying, but again, like I think like the amount of value that this deck generates just from, you know, like basically all of your cards are 2-for-1s, right? It's just playing like 4 Eternal Witnesses, 4 Ice Fang Quaddles, just like a ton of just 2-for-1 creatures. Stoneforge Mystics, you know, like, you know, if we're assuming that we're going all in on one creature, like at least it's a 2-for-1. I don't know. Well, I'm going to just play the Misty and then just equip the Sophie to the Yorion. And then the sort of Feast and Famine and the Aether Vial come back. Assassin's Trophy, my Yorion. I mean, yeah, I'll just Ephemerate this. We'll just make it hard for him again. And then this brings back the Batter Skull as well. So we did have not only 1, but 2 threats that can potentially kill them and pick up the equipments next turn. GG's, opponent. GG's. More than Scred. Okay, I didn't know who, I still was like not 100% sure who this was, but now I know for sure who it is. So like, I mean, you throw Scred out there, like, you know, you just like, you take off the mask, right? I'm gonna be a little greedy. I'm gonna keep this. I don't know what yet. You're gonna get a spread tat. Shoot, dude. Maybe just like the cold snap set symbol. That'd be kind of cool. I'm gonna grab green white here. I was thinking Blood Moon. Yeah, I mean that's fair. You know, Blood Moon's definitely like a big piece to that deck. It's like gotta be Blood Moon, just like straight up Lightning Bolt. But Lightning Bolt doesn't show everyone that you're dedicated to Scred. You know what I mean? Like Lightning Bolt just means like this could be Burn Guy. You know what I mean? But they're playing like Stomping Ground. Do I want to Uro? Yeah, I'm gonna jam an Uro. I think it's probably between Blood Moon or like Koth of the Hammer. I think having Koth's face on your leg or something would be kind of sweet. Clothis. This thing that only does things in the pre-combat main, I think. Just gonna grab a Hallowed Fountain here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Sword of Feast and Famine. This gives me pro green. So hopefully we can leverage that. I guess the other half is like we could get Sword of Fire and Ice and it has pro red. I don't know what they're leaning more into. I would imagine they have more green creatures than they have a motherfucker. Meddling Mage. Yeah, dude, we play Meddling Mage too. Expensive as deck. Yeah, definitely. Like I mean, it's 95 cards, you know, and that's just like to start with, right? Yep, Scoos is fine. I think I'm gonna flash this out. Between flashing that out and like pathing the Scoos, but I think I'm gonna flash that out. This way we get to play our land, fetch, grab a snow-covered island, I guess. I probably wanted to get a forest there, but that was a blue-white fetch land. We'll put this into play. We'll do this. We will smack them. Make them discard a card. Nah, I don't, bro. He's passing priority. I could just tell by the way that he was like not responding to anything. I don't think he had any removal spells. Generally, I would agree. I would not go in like super hard there, but Blood Moon. Opponent needs a green man, I guess. What do we do? They're probably playing like Bloodbraid Elf. So I could play Meddling Mage and name Bloodbraid. I think I like that. It's not my favorite name, but we're gonna go with it. And then I don't really care about the Scoos anymore. Like my Uro's already out of the graveyard. So I'm just gonna play another Stoneforge Mystic and go grab Sword of Fire and Ice. And then if we manage to get the Sword of Fire and Ice on the Ice Fang Quaddle as well, then they can no longer remove it with any red removal spells. Yeah, eating one of my cards is fine. You just do it, you know? Just get one of them rental services on Magic Online and just rent you this deck. It's a good time. Or you can just watch me play it, you know? That also seems like a good time. I like watching people play Magic. Alright, so we got red mana. Oh, they got 5? Are we glory bringing it? Oh my god, he glory bringed me! I mean, I got some bad news for you, opponent. I think this is the Ponza style, like red-green beats. I knew that they played Glory Bringer, but I kind of forgot about it. There's so many things I can do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Remember way back when you played that meddling man? Yeah. Yeah, I probably should have named like Glorybringer or like something else that they play. They probably like Anger the Gods or something. I don't know. You know, I know it's like Glorybringer .deck. Protection from red. This card seems pretty good against red guy. Also, these 4 Ether Gusts. I don't know why we have 4 of these in our deck, but maybe it's to beat this guy. Like we showed up to the table thinking that, you know, we're going to play against Glorybringer.deck today. And he's going to have a rough day. I can't imagine this is a bad matchup for us. Like our deck's like all value oriented and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Burrington's kind of whatever. He didn't attack me with very many like red creatures, so I don't know that I want to do Burrington. Like the pro red ability on it's kind of just there. And then as far as like CMC4 higher things go, it's like this hits Glorybringer, but I don't think I want to be doing that. So I think I'm just going to do these 5 if we can find spots for them. Cards that seem not so great. Knight of Autumn answers Blood Moon if we need it. Stonehorn Dignitary is like a lock piece. All of my cards are so good. How do I board? I think Aether Vial is going to be necessary in this matchup, especially if the opponent's on Blood Moon. We might get locked under it if we don't have the opportunity to fetch basics. Why is Cryptic in this deck? Yeah, no, I agree completely. Like, I think this is a really weird inclusion in this deck. I understand that, like, whoever built it probably wanted some amount of counter magic, but, like, Cryptic seems so expensive, and you also have to just go, like, really heavy on blue mana. Like, we lost a game earlier where I just had 0 blue mana against a burn deck, and I drew Cryptic Command. So, not entirely sure that this is correct, but for this matchup where they're playing like 5 mana spells, I'm going to keep it in. Figure something out. I'm running out of time. I'm going to take these out. Why not? We'll just take these out. We'll take that out, and we'll take one of these out, and we'll do that. And submit. Just board up to 100. Yeah, dude. I can't make decisions quickly enough. I'll just throw it all in. Easy mulligan. This hand is fine. We'll put the Batter Skull on the bottom. Utopia Sprawl. Turn 1 Vial. Turn to Blood Moon. Pillage. Dude, we just got pillaged. I think I'm okay with that though. Like if they had the choice between blowing up my land or my Ether Vial, like by all means, dude. I don't have any creatures that I can put into play anyways. Like I need lands for this Uro to be good. I mean, that is definitely accurate. The difference between 85 and 90 isn't the same as 60 and 65. I understand where your thought process is coming from. I wouldn't fault anyone for boarding up in this deck. I don't really think I care about the actual Bloodbraid, but the Cindervines can probably be a little annoying. Maybe I don't care about it actually though. Do I let the Cindervines resolve or do I Ether Gust it? The thing is, next turn, like, if they play like Glorybringer, we're gonna play Uro and then put a Flooded Strand into play, so we can path the Glorybringer, but we're not gonna be able to Aether Gust next turn. So I think just to be mana efficient, I'm gonna Aether Gust. I would not fault anyone for taking a different line there. Still think I'm playing Uro. I know I drew the Ice Fang Quaddle, but I just want to get this thing online. I'm going to go grab a Temple Garden with this most likely, and then Path to Exile any relevant creature that they play. And then that puts 4 cards in our graveyard in addition to the Uro. So we don't quite have enough to escape it, but... Second Utopia Sprawl is fine. Or yeah, they're both on red. Chandra is really bad for me. Reasons to hold up Ether Gust. This one. Yeah, Ephemerate. One Blinky Boy. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna let the Blood Raid hit me. Green white. Aether Gust. So here's the Wombo combo, right? So our opponent fetches. Yeah. Yeah. How you like me now? How you like me now? Lil Ephemerate. Yeah. My rap name. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and trade the Quaddle for the Blood Raid. Just trade their 2-for-1 for my 2-for-1. Oh, I panicked for a little bit there. I thought, for some reason, I thought this didn't have Death Touch for a second. Excuse me. Oh no. Excuse me, he's gonna eat my Uro. Yeah, that's fine. Just gonna play this and say go. Actually, I could play that, pick up Yorion, and then play the Ice Fang Quaddle on their turn, and then the next turn I can play Yorion, Flicker, Ice Fang Quaddle. Like it gives me the option to do that at least. I think I like picking up Yorion here. Eats my Aether Gust. Man, Chandra's still on top? How did that happen? Okay. Okay. Oh, for some reason I thought they had 3 mana because of the Colossus, but whale. If we path the ooze, this is not a creature. So I believe if we path the Colossus, I think this is the line. Yeah. You can eat some stuff out of my graveyard. Just gonna get a Hallowed Fountain here. What do we do? Oh, this is post board. So we can Eladamri's Call for Lavinia. And then start flickering Lavinia. And that seems kind of bonkers. Because I'm pretty sure the keyword detain means that this can't activate its abilities either. I'm with it. Let's do this in the main phase and see what we draw. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm gonna shock that in. Just to hold up Ephemerate plus Eladamri's Call. We are gonna take some damage here. We are effectively going to 3. Windswept Heath. Any spell they cast here, I'm likely going to remand. Yeah, I'm just gonna remand this just to get the cycle. Man, now I have to block though. Yep. Not entirely sure if this was the correct line. So we can grab Uro to gain us some life. Do I have enough mana to cast Uro and put him back into play? 3. I do have enough mana to both cast Uro and then put him back into play from the graveyard. Which also removes most of my graveyard. If it was a land card, add red or green, otherwise gain 2. So I can leave a land in the graveyard and make it such that they can't deal damage to me. And then I can just play Uro, replay Uro, and then I have a 6/6 versus their 4/5 and their Chandra. Alternatively, we can grab Lavinia, and then they can't attack, block, or activate their abilities, but this still triggers, so I'm still going to go to 1. I think Uro is the correct play. Uro is so strong. We have blue, blue, green. I'm going to go grab another green source. So green, blue, blue, and we have green, green, blue, blue for the flashback, for the escape, rather. Sure. I mean, I'm like in for putting this Eladamri's Call back on top of my deck. Do it again. Blue, blue, green, green. And then again, we're just going to leave a couple of lands. Or a land, rather. No land. Now, yeah, we gained 6 life from doing that twice. Uro, oh, they can exile their own stuff. Well, I was thinking they could only exile my cards, but I mean, regardless, we gained 6 life. Are they forgetting to activate Chandra? I have to block, unfortunately. It's a good play from the opponent. Yeah, now they get 2 for the Uro. Soul Herder. We'll go ahead and start with Eladamri's Call. I think it's Lavinia here. And then we're going to take 2 from this trigger and we'll go to 4. But then the following turn, we get to do what? Play Yorion, flicker Lavinia. And then we take 2 again, and we're going to go to 2. Not the best of turns, but we're going to go with this. We're going to go with the Lavinia line. They can't activate their Chandra, and they also cannot activate their Arbor Elf or attack or block with Klothys. Worst case scenario, they draw exactly Glorybringer, and they just... What's the keyword of those Eldrazi's? You can sack a creature to make them cheaper, and they have ET. Oh, the emerge creatures, the like Elder Deep Fiend and whatever the big Thoughtseize one is. Those are like the 2 best ones, I think. Elder Deep Fiend seemed kind of insane. You could definitely probably like try Elder Deep Fiend over the cryptic commands. I don't know how much better that is though, because Elder Deep Fiend's a cast trigger, and like most of the synergies in this deck are based on ETB triggers. So like if you have a Soul Herder or a Yorion going or something like that, you know, sacking one of your creatures to put an Elder Deep Fiend into play buys you some time, but then your synergies are sort of worse. So we'll go Ice Fang Quaddle. That's a good draw. That is basically what we needed to stay in the game. So we're going to gain 4 life. And then play the Soul Herder. And flicker the Lavinia at the end of turn. Yeah, I may as well attack the Chandra. Because they can't block with Clothis. So they have to chump with an Arbor Elf. Yeah, like if Elder Deep Fiend was an ETB trigger, like I definitely agree. I think that would be much better than doing the Cryptic Command thing, but since it's a cast trigger, I think it's a little bit too awkward for it to just be a shoe-in. But, you know, I can still probably try it, though. Are we dead? Blood Braid. Into Pillage. Not dead. Yep, pillage my mountain. My Hallowed Fountain. Dead mountain. If it was a Molten Rain, I'd be jittery a little bit, but Pillage don't deal me no damage. No damages. Yeah, we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to attack with this and this at the Chandra. And yeah, he has to block there if he wants to save it. Chandra takes 1. And then I think we have them on, like, basically the best loop that we can possibly put them on. We get to play Yorion here. God, this is disgusting. This is disgusting! Flicker this, this, this. Done. This gets 3+1/+1 counters. They come back into play. This flickers this. And we want to stack these this way because this does this. These all come back. We put all these triggers on the stack. We're going to gain 4 more life. We're going to detain all your permanents. Draw a card. And then flicker something. We'll flicker the Yorion. And now check this out. Check this out. We get to do it all again. I think I'm going to leave the Ice Fang Quaddle in play this time. I'm actually just going to flicker the Knight of Autumn. Your turn! Can you hover over that last card? I don't know these new cards. The Yorion thing? Yeah, so this is the companion. So this is the one, like, you have to pick it up from the outside of the game because it's like in the companion zone or whatever. But when it ETBs, you just like flicker any number of permanents that you have. Stomp. Yep, play a Bone Crusher. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know why my opponent is continuing to play this game. Maybe they think I'm gonna time out, which is reasonable, I suppose. You know, like they're just trying to get me on the clock because I am taking my sweet time, but I think I'm gonna have more than enough time to kill them. So they only have red creatures here. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Sword of Fire and Ice. This is gonna give something pro red in addition to the Lavinia. So we're gonna swing this at them. And I'm gonna swing this at them as well. Yeah, actually, I mean, we may as well just swing everything at them, right? Aside from the Knight of Autumn, because they're gonna get detained anyways. Shoot this with the sword. Play this. Soul Herder, the Dorian. Yes. Yorion comes in and flickers Lavinia, Ice Fang Quaddle, Knight of Autumn. Oh, I think I messed up there. I messed up there, yo. Yeah, am I dead? I might be dead. I go to 2. I almost died. I could very easily actually lose because they could have like a bolt or something. But or like a stomp or something. But I forgot that this whenever I flicker this and do that, then these guys don't come back until yeah, here. Can't believe that you almost lost it. Yeah. Major misplay. If I was the opponent, I'd be a little salty. You know? It stinks to see somebody be so stupid and yet somehow still come out with the victory. I had all the cards. I had all the things. I didn't have all the life. Like I hadn't sufficiently gained like infinite life. I'd gained, you know, a reasonable amount, but it wasn't infinite. So obviously on that last turn, the only thing that I should have changed was I should have just used the Soul Herder to just flicker the Lavinia, and I don't think I lose there. Yeah, we'll keep this. It's a little awkward because we don't have any creatures, but the Eladamri's Call can turn into a creature. Yeah, I know, right? After saying, I don't know why my opponent's still playing. They're still playing because I'm an idiot. And, you know, if they stick around, maybe they could just... well, you can clip it. I don't know how you clip stuff on Twitch, but you definitely can clip that. Stoneforge. Yeah. Yeah. We lucked out. think I'm gonna go ahead and get a green blue and then Eladomri's call for an Uro. And then we can, oh, for some reason I was thinking this was a Shockland. Awkward mana base a little bit. And we couldn't grab a basic island last turn with this. So we couldn't have double blue for this. The question is, do I care about the equipment that they're bound to put into play if we just have an Uro? We'll take the safe play. We'll take the safe play. I'll path the guy. And then we'll play a Canopy Vista. Sounds good, man. Appreciate the support. We'll catch you later. Command needs cut. Yeah, I think you could definitely figure out something to put in place of Cryptic Command. Maybe like Dramoka's Command is better. You know, one of like the interactive spells like that, you know? Plus Dramoka's Command just sounds like a blast. Any excuse that I can play Dramoka's Command is a deal breaker for me. Creatures better than spells. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Mana leak. No, I won't pay for mana leak. I don't really care too much about that, honestly. If they let the path resolve, they just get a 5th land and get to cast the Batterskull anyways. Obviously, worst case scenario, they cast the green-black sword and equip it and attack. 5 mana to fairy. Yeah, I mean, like, why would you even bother mana leaking? Like, you'd just be in an absurd spot right now if you just had 2 mana up for this to fairy with mana leak. Yeah, now he's going to untap 2 lands so that way he can put the Batterskull into play with Stoneforge. I mean, he's probably, you know, still going to be in an absurd spot, but my argument still stands, I think. Blue, blue, green, green. Doot, 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 doot. Doot, 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 doot. No. Aether Vial. Yep. put the Batter Skull into play, and then put the sword into play, put the sword on the Batter Skull, and then attack because this guy's green, and we probably lose the game. I mean, that thing has vigilance, so he can also block what I am doing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to discard my Batter Skull, which I know seems a little bit weird, but I think if we ripped the most useful card that we could possibly rip at this very moment, which would probably be Knight of Autumn, I'd rather have 2 Ephemerates than a Batter Skull in my hand. I mean, that's close. Do this, right? And then Ewit, pick up Eladamri's Call, cast Eladamri's Call, find Knight of Autumn. Oh, we're getting Cryptic Commanded. Yep. Yep. Okay, what to do? Collector Oofy is okay against the swords. Disdainful Stroke and Gaddock Teague are also okay against this deck. Remand seems insane. Path to Exile is fine. We kind of need it to deal with like some of their stuff that has swords on it. Meddling Mage seems good. Venser also seems quite good. Anything that just like lets me play at instant speed seems pretty good. Stonehorn Dignitary is like kind of whatever. Venser, I'm sorry, Thassa is also just kind of whatever. It does flicker things and it's indestructible, but meh. Like it doesn't do anything unless something else is in play and we're playing against a deck that's mostly going to be picking our creatures apart, it looks like. Do I want to board out some of my own swords to bring in the Oofy? I think it's okay, actually. I don't actually think Oofy is that great. And then the last card we'll cut is just an Eternal Witness. It's possible they bring in some kind of like a Rest in Peace or something like that. We'll definitely keep this. This has a turn 1 Noble Hierarch, turn 2 Uro. We're just going to play Stoneforge Mystic instead. I think this threatens more. And Uro's just effectively like a fancy growth spiral here. Yep. They played their own Stoneforge Mystic, and they're grabbing their own Batter Skull. Yeah, and I'm just going to go ahead and pass with the intention of putting the Batter Skull into play at the end of turn. Put in a Booter Skull. Put in a Booter Skull. Untap. Draw a land, which is fantastic. I think I'm going to go ahead and play a Meddling Mage. I'm going to name Path to Exile. Think. I could also name Cryptic Command, because they haven't pathed anything yet. But I'll stick to Path to Exile. And they can block if they want, but my germ is going to be bigger than their germ because we have Exalted. We're also holding up Disdainful Stroke here, so if they want to cast any 4-mana spells next turn, we have the answer for that. Worst case scenario, they don't put their Batter Skull into play. They untap and they cast Supreme Verdict. But they are putting their Batter Skull into play, which tells me that they do not have Supreme Verdict. That would be unfortunate, because we don't have a counterspell for that one. Three mana to fairy. That's just rude, my dude. You're gonna put the Batter Skull back into my hand? Oh, bounce the germ. Yeah, bounce the germ. Good play, good play. No attack. I'm gonna get blue-white here. And then activate the Stoneforge, put the sword into play. Do I sword the Stoneforge up and attack the Teferi, and then they likely have to block with Stoneforge Mystic, or do I just play Uro here? If we draw a land, we get to do both off the Uro. But I think it's a little greedy if we do that, because then we just don't, like, we basically spend our turn doing nothing. Or we could just suit up the Meddling Mage. Actually, I like this line the best. We're going to attack the Teferi here. If they choose to block, great. If not, then we'll just move the sword to the Meddling Mage. Our opponent has begun tanking. Tank, 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 tank. Oh, no blocks. Interesting play. Camel pass. I don't really care too much if they just hit me for 4. What I do care about is being able to Disdainful Stroke a big boy Teferi. But they decided not to let their Stoneforge Mystic die, which leads me to believe that they're probably trying to do something along the lines of, like, suit up another sword onto this germ. And if that's the case, I'm going to be a little bit sad. But hopefully they just think that I missed this interaction where I could just move the sword over to the Meddling Mage. Or they just have another Teferi. And none of it ever mattered. None of my decisions ever mattered. No, please, not my Meddling Mage. He's just trying to meddle. I mean, if you want to path me here, I think I'm okay with that. Like, I need some more manas. Yup. Arkham's Astrolabe. So this turn, I'm going to go ahead and attack them. And force them to path. My Stoneforge. Yes, I very much would like to use Path to Exile's ability and grab myself an island. And then here, I think we just play Meddling Mage, name Path to Exile again, and then suit it up with the sword. Path del Exilo. And now this has pro green and black, so they can no longer attack with the germ. If they want to, it's going to get eaten in combat by the pro black creature. Listen, don't play anything else. That card is powerful. they had a fetch land there, they would have been able to put the second half back into play, and that would be bad for me. Anything you can do, I can do better. Do 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 do. No attack. We're gonna need another green source. So let's grab green, blue. Sword of Fire and Ice. Okay. I'm pretty okay with that exchange of events because they still can no longer attack with the germ. Still have a pro black creature. Sword of Fire and Ice being exiled is not the greatest for us, obviously, but it's not the worst. At some point here, this Yorion coming back into play and being able to flicker this Batterskull for free could be relevant. Us having an 8th card here, where our opponent only had 7. Mm-hmm. Green, white. I can go grab Venser to bounce the Stoneforge Mystic. I can get Knight of Autumn to blow up the Batterskull. If we bounce the Stoneforge Mystic, we get to attack with the Meddling Mage and take the Teferi off the table, which lets me Ephemerate or Disdainful Stroke at instant speed. We don't get to untap any of our lands, though, because we won't be hitting a player. I'm gonna go ahead and grab Knight of Autumn. And blow up the Batterskull. Or at the very least, attempt to blow up the Batterskull. Okay. I'm gonna attack them, because they basically have to chump block, or get to untap all of my lands. And let's see what the opponent does. This could very well be pretty close to the end of the game. If my opponent does not bounce something with its Teferi or interact with my board in any way, then we get to suit up the Meddling Mage with the Batterskull and attack for 6 Vigilance, pro green, pro red black, so it can't be blocked, and they can't Path to Exile it because the Meddling Mage is naming Path to Exile. But they have Teferi to interact with it here, so they can bounce one piece of what's going on. Which, I'll be honest, is quite bad for me. That's not exactly my choice for what I would bounce, but, you know, to each their own. Yep, tad bit unfortunate here. It just seems like my opponent has had counter magic and interaction at all the necessary points. So it would seem that this game is slipping away from me. We do finally get to convert one of these Dissample Strokes that have been rotting in our hand. Dovin's Veto. Opponent's just loaded up on counter magic, I guess. Yeah, I would need some silly combination of cards here to pull myself out of this, but may as well see what Uro brings me. Oh yeah, they put this on top. We're done. All right, match 5. We've won 2 of our 5 matches, so 4 matches so far. Not the greatest record for this deck. I'm not entirely convinced that Cryptic Command is the way to go, but I don't really know what I would replace it for. That's the biggest problem I feel like with these creature toolboxy decks is like there's never an answer for every situation. Like Knight of Autumn is very good against specific enchantments and artifacts, right? But our opponent was playing a bunch of counter magic there, and we don't really have a creature that just says no to counter magic. We have good cards that are like good against counter magic if they resolve. You know, like we had our Stoneforge Mystic there, which was fine. We put a Batterskull into play and did all sorts of fun things, but it was not able to carry us to the end. Now, granted, we didn't draw any Cryptic Commands that game, so maybe drawing Cryptic Command would have helped us, but most of the game they had 3 minutes Fairy into play, so drawing Cryptic Command probably wouldn't have done much. The opponent starts on 8 because they have a companion. They mulligan to 6 and then 5, which is really 6 because, like, Yorion. We'll play that tapped. Are we playing the same deck? Oh, we could be. Is this the fabled mirror match? We're going to play against 2 Bant decks in a row. Oh, it looks like it. Nothing. Play Stoneforge. Probably going to go grab Batterskull. We'll see. Batterskull. And we'll pat that. And we're just going to play an Uro. Next turn, we can escape Uro. Mm-hmm. Green, green, blue. Green, 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 blue, blue. Yep. Blue, blue, green, green, blue. Let's do that. Do blue, green, like that. Yeah, yeah. That leaves up green and white for both, for Eladamri's Call or Path to Exile. If we draw a land off the arrow, we can cast the Eladamri's Call. Path. It's fine. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much, so we'll just grab an island. Mm-hmm. It's really good for me. Means I just get to ba-bang, ba-bang. And say go. Oh, I was like, what are they? Yeah, yeah, they're playing Uro. Yes, you may draw your card. We'll path this. Ooh. Okay. Doesn't matter too much because we get to Eternal Witness back to path and then path it. So we'll do that. Need more green and white mana instead of blue mana. And I'm gonna go ahead and ephemerate this here. We can pick up the path. And then ephemerate it on the upkeep. And then pick up the ephemerate. Attack for 2. I'm going to just pass. Yeah, and this is fine. I'm just going to pass, and if they play anything in their main phase, we can go to Eladamri's Call for Venser, and then Venser whatever they play, and then potentially ephemerate that as well. Did they pick up Yorion at some point? Did I miss that? So we'll go green, white, Eladamri's Call. Grab Venser. And I'm just going to Venser the snow-covered plains back to their hand. Yep. And then here we can fetch for a Hallowed Fountain and Ephemerate our Eternal Witness to have it get countered. And then here we can Eladamri's Call for Uro. Use Uro to put Ephemerate back on top. Or use Mystic Sanctuary to put Ephemerate back on top. And then play Uro. And then draw the Ephemerate. And then we get to Ephemerate the Eternal Witness, pick up the Venser, and then yeah. GG's, opponent. Aether Gust is a good answer to Uro. So I think I like that over like Remand. They seem to be on a higher density of counter spells instead of higher density of creatures. So the Gaddock Teague could potentially shut down Cryptic Command loops and things like that. So I like Gaddock Teague. And then we'll just take out like Stonehorn Dignitary, and a single Cryptic Command. Show them my Pokemon. There we go. And I will keep this for show. Play a Breeding Pool on one. Draw a Noble Hierarch. Oh, nope. Mm-hmm. I think we're just going to copy their play. Except we're not going to grab Sword of Fire and Ice, we're going to grab Batterskull. Weird. Green, white. Legatic Teague. This just turns off Cryptic Command, so if they have Cryptic Command, they basically have to cast it on the Legatic Teague. Yep. Yep. Mystic Sanctuary, put the Cryptic Command back on top. It's worth noting that Remand would have already been better than this Ether Gust. Even though Ether Gust is quite good against Uro, it's pretty bad against the rest of their cards. Teferi. Okay. Went and got a Batterskull. I'm gonna send both my attackers at the Teferi. And yep. Yep. No reason to block, really. So now we're holding up Cryptic Command plus Ephemerate. Just gonna go ahead and Ephemerate the Stoneforge Mystic and force a little bit of action here. They probably have like a Dovin's Veto or something, which I'm pretty okay with because we are still pressuring them. Like all of this is fine because we are still pressuring them. No, I won't pay for the mana leak, and yeah, you can resolve your Cryptic. So we can play Eternal Witness, pick up Ephemerate. Ephemerate the Eternal Witness, pick up Gaddock Teague. And then play Gaddock Teague. And just put Cryptic Command back on top of my deck. That way if they answer the Gaddock T, we just have Cryptic. Yeah, sure. Why not? Green, green, 1. Pick up Ephemerate. Yes. Attack for 4. Again, we do not have enough green or white sources. We are heavy on blue. But I am not convinced that this mana base is built correctly. Mystic Sanctuary, put Cryptic Command back on top. I'm just going to cast Eladamri's Call. I know that technically, you know, we could just draw the Cryptic Command that's on top of my deck, but I think that getting... We're going to get Knight of Autumn. Alright, so we're gonna go green, white, 1, cast Knight of Autumn, and just attempt to blow up the Sword of Fire and Ice. And the opponent knows that they're kind of in an awkward position, it feels like, because of the Ephemerate in my hand. Alright. I wasn't sure if the opponent had another piece of counter magic there, but I didn't think that there was a way for me to play around that. So I just decided to take my spot, and they didn't have it. So Ephemerate wins. 3-2 league. Nothing fancy. I'm not convinced that the cryptic commands are the way to go because it really skews the mana base in a blue direction. And like most of your deck is green and white. Like this is double green. You know, and the rest of your cards are all green and or white. And then with the exception of like Ice Fang, Quaddle, and Uro. Now don't get me wrong, Uro is double blue. So like you do need to be skewed in blue in some direction because this card's quite good, but triple blue is a little bit harder. So I don't know if Cryptic Command is the way to go or not. Venser was quite impressive. I liked Venser quite a bit, so like maybe we just play more Vensers in place of the Cryptics or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Mystic Snake is like a better way to go. Just having a creature that you can ephemerate in play. That seems bonkers. Not entirely sure. In any case, I am going to take a few minutes to go get a drink and go to the restroom and things like that. And then I will be back. We're going to play some Modern Jund. So stick around for that if you're interested.